Welcome to Backbone Unlimited. My name is Matt Hartsky. If you're not familiar with who I am, I've been successfully hunting and guiding Western big game for more than 34 years, and I have been a professional strength conditioning and nutrition coach for more than 30 years. In this episode, we're talking about 5 signs you're actually ready to kill a bull elk this year. Not someday, not if things line up, but this season. Because here's the truth, after more than 3 decades of Western public land elk hunting, most hunters who don't kill bulls aren't just lucky. They're underprepared in ways they don't want to admit. I know that stings because they want success. They talk about success. They consume content about success, but they haven't aligned their actions with the outcome they say they want. And that gap matters. Every year I hear the same things. I was close. I had a chance. It almost came together. And while close counts for effort, it doesn't punch tags. Bulls are killed by hunters who are ready when the moment shows up, physically, mentally, technically, and strategically, because the moment doesn't care how bad you want it. It only rewards what you've built beforehand. This episode isn't about hyper motivation, though. It's a self-assessment, a hard, honest gut check. These 5 signs aren't flashy. They aren't trendy. But if you can honestly say yes to them, you're dangerous in the elk woods this year. And if you can't, that's not an insult. It's a roadmap and a kick in the pants to get going. Being ready to kill a bull doesn't mean you know everything. It means you've eliminated the biggest liabilities. It means your body won't fail you when the climb is steep. Your shooting won't collapse when your heart rate spikes. Your mind won't panic when the woods go quiet, and your decisions won't unravel under pressure. Most hunters focus on outcomes. Successful hunters focus on preparation. They don't hope to rise to the occasion. They train so the occasion doesn't exceed them. They don't rely on luck, perfect weather, or cooperative elk behavior. They rely on systems, habits, and earned confidence. As we go through these 5 signs, I want you to be honest with yourself. Not optimistic, not defensive, honest, because the fastest way to kill your first bull or your next bull is to stop pretending you're ready and start building toward it with intention. By the end of this episode, you'll know exactly where you stand and exactly what still needs work before the season opens. Sign number 1, you're taking physical preparation seriously. This is the one most hunters want to skip past, but it's also the one that quietly decides more outcomes than any tactic ever will. Because elk hunting doesn't reward intentions, it exposes limits. And if your body is the weakest link in your system, the hunt will eventually find it. Taking physical preparation seriously doesn't mean you're trying to look like a fitness influencer or train like a professional athlete. It means you're preparing your body for the actual demands of elk country. Long climbs under load, steep side hills, cold mornings followed by brutal packouts, repeated days of effort with limited recovery. Those demands don't care how tough you think you are. Ready hunters don't train randomly. They train with purpose. Legs that can climb without blowing up your lungs. A core that can stabilize under a pack. Hips and knees that can actually handle uneven terrain without breaking down. And just as important, conditioning that allows you to stay sharp while late in the day when most mistakes are made. Nutrition is part of this, whether people like it or not. You can't outwork poor fueling. If you're under eating, over drinking, or living on energy drinks and hope, your training and your hunt are already compromised. Serious hunters treat food as fuel, recovery as training, and sleep as non-negotiable because durability matters more than grit when the days stack up. Here's the biggest shift I see in hunters who are ready to kill a bull. They trust their body. They don't hesitate to take one more ridge. They don't second guess a long pack out. They don't rush shots because they're smoked. Physical preparation buys you time, clarity, and confidence in moments where unprepared hunters feel rushed and desperate. And this isn't about perfection. It's about commitment. You don't need elite genetics. You need consistency. You need to show up week after week and build a body that supports your hunt instead of limiting it. If you're training right now with the hunt in mind, strength, conditioning, and nutrition all working together, that's a clear sign you're not just hoping to kill a bull this year. You're earning the right to be ready when the opportunity finally shows up. Sign number two, you're taking your shooting practice seriously. This is where confidence gets exposed fast because when a bull finally steps into range, there's no room for theory, excuses, or I should be good. That moment only rewards what you've already rehearsed. Hunters who are ready to kill a bull don't treat shooting practice as a box to check. They treat it as a skill that has to hold up under pressure. Whether you're carrying a bow or a rifle, the principle is the same. Consistency matters more than raw ability, and realism matters more than volume. Serious shooters don't just fling arrows or punch paper when conditions are perfect. They practice cold, first shot out of the day, no warm up, no do overs, because that first shot is the one that counts in the field. They understand that groups on a calm range don't mean much if everything falls apart once the heart rate spikes. They also practice from positions that actually happen while hunting: kneeling, seated, lying in uncomfortable positions and angles, leaning into a pack, off balance, uneven footing, tight windows. For bow hunters, that means drawing under control when you're breathing hard and holding steady longer than you want to. For rifle hunters, it means building stable positions quickly and breaking clean shots without rushing. Another big sign you're ready is honesty about your effective range. Ready hunters know their limits and respect them. They don't rely on max distance hero shots or I think I can hit that. They've proven what they can do repeatedly, and they hunt inside that window without ego. You can hear it in how a hunter talks about shooting. There's less bragging and more calm certainty. They don't panic when a bull hangs up. They don't force shots to avoid losing an opportunity. They trust their ability because it's been tested. Shooting practice also isn't seasonal for hunters who kill bulls consistently. It's year round, even if the volume changes, even if the distance changes and you can only shoot 20 yards like I do a lot of times. Muscle memory fades fast and pressure amplifies every weakness. Ready hunters don't let rust build. At the end of the day, killing a bull comes down to execution. All the scouting, conditioning, and strategy in the world doesn't matter if you can't make the shot when it counts. If your practice right now is intentional, honest, and built around real hunting conditions, that's a strong sign you're not just chasing elk this year, you're prepared to finish the job.
Step into the backcountry and step up your elk hunting game at Elk Camp 2026. This isn't a seminar, it's an immersive experience with real field training alongside successful elk hunters Matt and Saxton Hartsky. You'll learn how elk think and move, break down terrain like a pro, call with confidence, and practice 3 days of real-world elk hunting scenarios that mirror what you'll face on your own hunt. This camp was built to bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be in the mountains. With limited spots and hands-on coaching, you'll walk away sharper, more prepared, and ready to hunt with purpose and confidence. Elk Camp 2026. Sharpen your edge. Register now and prepare for the season like never before at backboneunlimited.com.
Sign number three, you've simplified how you hunt elk. One of the clearest signs a hunter is ready to kill a bull is how calm they are in the field. Not because they don't care, but because they're no longer chasing chaos. They've stripped the hunt down to what actually matters, and that simplicity shows in every decision they make. Inexperienced or underprepared hunters tend to overcomplicate elk hunting. I've been there. Every bugle becomes urgent. Every track feels like a clue that has to be followed immediately. Every social media update creates doubt. They bounce from plan to plan, burning energy and confidence along the way. The woods start to feel frantic instead of focused. Hunters who are ready to kill bulls operate differently. They understand that elk don't need to do much to survive. They feed, they bed, they move efficiently through terrain, and they adjust to pressure in predictable ways. When you understand that, the hunt stops being emotional and starts being positional. Simplifying your hunt means you're prioritizing terrain, wind, and pressure over noise and activity. You're thinking about where elk want to be, not just where they were last seen. You're setting up on travel routes instead of chasing sounds that already happened. You're letting the day unfold instead of forcing it to. Ready hunters also accept that quiet doesn't mean empty. When the woods go silent, They don't panic. They slow down. They glass longer. They move with purpose instead of urgency. They understand that elk often win by staying put while hunters burn themselves out. This simplicity creates patience, and patience kills bulls. It allows you to sit longer on good ground. It helps you avoid unnecessary movement that blows wind or pressure. It keeps you mentally clear late in the day when most opportunities actually happen. Another key shift is filtering information. Hunters who are ready don't let every outside voice change their plan. They trust their preparation and their understanding of the unit. They make adjustments when conditions demand it, not when doubt creeps in. When elk hunting feels simpler, it's usually because your understanding has improved. You're no longer trying to control everything. You're positioning yourself where success is more likely and letting discipline do the rest. If you've reached the point where your hunts feel more intentional and less reactive, that's a strong sign you're no longer just participating in elk season. You're hunting like someone who expects to kill a bull and has the same systems in place to make it happen. Sign number 4, you're comfortable being uncomfortable. This is the sign most hunters underestimate because it doesn't show up in photos or gear lists, but it decides who stays effective when the hunt drags on. Bulls aren't usually killed when everything feels good. They're killed when conditions are working against you and you keep showing up anyway. Hunters who are ready to kill a bull have made peace with discomfort. Early alarms don't feel heroic anymore. They're just part of the process. Cold mornings, wet boots, stiff legs, and empty hours don't derail their focus. They understand that discomfort isn't a signal to quit or rush. It's simply the cost of being in elk country long enough for an opportunity to appear. There's a big mental shift that happens here. Instead of fighting discomfort, ready hunters expect it. They don't get frustrated when the weather turns or the miles stack up. They plan for it. They manage layers, pacing, and recovery because they know the hunt is rarely fair or convenient. This also shows up in patience, long sits, slow, still hunting, hours of glassing with nothing to show for it. Most hunters struggle here because boredom creates doubt and doubt creates movement. Hunters who kill bulls stay put longer. They trust good ground even when it's quiet. They're willing to wait out the conditions instead of forcing action. Mental discomfort matters just as much as physical discomfort. Missed opportunities, blown setups, quiet days, those moments can unravel a hunt if you let them. Ready hunters don't spiral. They reset. They stick to their system and make the next right decision instead of replaying mistakes in their head. Comfort with discomfort also creates discipline late in the day. When fatigue sets in, and it always will, underprepared hunters rush shots, cut corners, or head back early. Prepared hunters slow down. They know that evening movement often rewards the ones who stayed mentally present. If you can honestly say that discomfort no longer dictates your decisions, that you can stay patient, focused, and disciplined when the hunt is hard, that's a major sign you're ready. Because elk hunting isn't about who feels best, it's about who remains effective when everything says it would be easier to quit. Sign number 5, you're owning your outcomes. This is the sign that ties all of this together, and it's often the difference between hunters who eventually kill bulls and hunters who stay stuck in the same cycle year after year. Owning your outcomes means you've stopped outsourcing responsibility for your results. Hunters who aren't ready tend to explain their seasons. The wind was wrong, the unit was crowded, the rut was off, the weather didn't cooperate. And while all of those things are real, none of them are useful if they become the reason nothing changes. Explanation without ownership leads nowhere. Hunters who are ready to kill a bull do something different. They review their hunts honestly. They ask hard questions. Where did I lose the advantage? What decision actually mattered? What could I have controlled better? They're not beating themselves up, but they're not protecting their ego either. This mindset shows up long before the season. Ready hunters identify weaknesses early and work on them deliberately. If conditioning was the problem, they train harder and smarter. If shooting broke down, they tighten their practice. If decision making faltered under pressure, they study terrain, wind, and pressure patterns until those choices become clearer next time. They also adapt adapt in season without drama. When a plan stops working, they don't cling to it out of pride. They adjust. They move when it makes sense and sit when it doesn't. They understand that flexibility is not the same as randomness. It's informed change based on conditions. Owning outcomes also changes how hunters talk about success. There's less comparison and more focus. They're not worried about what others are doing or killing. They're invested in their own process. That confidence isn't loud, it's grounded. The biggest shift is this: ready hunters stop waiting for the hunt to give them something. They take responsibility for creating opportunity. They know they won't control everything, but they refuse to pretend they control nothing. If you're at the point where you evaluate your seasons honestly, fix what's broken, and show up year after year better prepared than the last, that's a clear sign you're ready. Because bulls are killed by hunters who take full ownership of their preparation, their decisions, and their outcomes, regardless of how the season unfolds. When you step back and look at these 5 signs together, a clear pattern emerges. Readiness isn't about confidence you talk yourself into. It's about alignment. Your body, your skills, your mindset, and your decisions are all pulling in the same direction. When that happens, killing a bull stops feeling like something that might happen and starts feeling like something you're capable of earning. Most hunters never take this kind of inventory. They focus on tags, units, gear drops, and last-minute advice, commenting on my post that elk hunting is all luck, hoping something external will tip the odds. But the hunters who consistently kill bulls do the opposite. They build from the inside out. They remove weak links. They train, practice, and think with intention long before September ever arrives. If you found yourself nodding along to most of these signs, that's a good place to be, buddy. But it's not a finish line. Readiness isn't something you achieve once and keep forever. It's something you maintain. It requires discipline when motivation fades, because it will, and clarity when pressure rises. And it's built faster when you're not doing it alone. And that's exactly why I built Team Backbone. If you're serious about taking this kind of preparation deeper, Team Backbone is an inner circle for hunters who want to think clearer, train smarter, and make better decisions when it matters most. Inside, you're going to get 20% off site-wide on all Backbone Unlimited gear, the option to have a t-shirt shipped to your door every month, and full access to the digital content vault packed with guides, checklists, and backcountry strategy. You'll also get access to a private Facebook group with direct access to me and a community of driven hunters. On top of that, you'll have direct call, text, or email access to me for personalized advice on training, hunting strategy, or sharpening your edge. I talk to guys every single day, and you'll be automatically entered into monthly gear giveaways. This is built for hunters who are done guessing and ready to take ownership of their outcomes. If that's you, Team Backbone is waiting for you at backboneunlimited.com underneath our membership tab. Thanks for being here. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, train harder, hunt smarter, and never settle.